agree with Alan Greenspan? We ought to just eliminate the debt ceiling. Oh, absolutely. We do.
The ability of almost every working American to access more credit than they should have been able to masked the underlying fact that lower and middle class incomes were not rising.
That's not a tenable strategy. Isn't now the time to eliminate it? Oh, it would have been time, a long time ago.
Let's put aside terrorism. Let's talk only about our own homegrown animals that are patrolling America right now. So it goes down to the simplest thing. Be prepared, be vigilant.
And just like that, after an hour and a half of debate, the country has descended into tribal warfare. The country has descended into tribal warfare, and we get to go into the psychosis of October and November of election year. And to be quite honest, I've only been through a few of these. You know, you got to understand, I'm 30 years old. I've only been through a few of these election cycles that I really paid any attention to. And already I'm fatigued. I'm already fatigued by this whole thing. I turned the radio on this morning. For those of you who watched the debate. Who watched the debate? Anybody? Show of hands. Show of hands who watched the debate last night. I did watch it. I did. I watched it. I watched it and did some writing. What I did, I put it on YouTube live, streamed it on YouTube, watched it, did a little bit of writing, and then I also did a little Twitch video while I was playing the Long Dark. And that was symbolic in and of itself. You know, so take this trip with me real quick. Well, we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. I'm already fatigued, though, because I wake up, I turn the radio on, and I hear the hysterics on AM talk radio. Now, you guys know that I'm pretty middle of the road, you know, right-leaning on some things, definitely left-leaning on other things. I'm an American person. I'm a human American, okay? I'm not a robot. I'm not a soldier of the left or the right. I'm just an American. I've got kids. I've got hobbies. I've got, you know, problems. I've got all that. And when I watched the debate, I took away some things from it. We'll talk about that. But I turn on the radio and I hear the madmen, the hysterics. The hysteria flowing. Trump executed the greatest debate of all time. He actually absolutely smashed Hillary in the debate. Hillary never had a chance in the debate. There was no chance. This thing's in the bag. I hear Mitt Romney all over again. This thing's in the bag. Perfect. Couldn't have been better. And it was not the case. You want my 2 cents, my takeaway from the debate, I'll give it to you. And that's about it. We're not going to spend a lot of time in the debate. Not through this whole election season. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this topic, but this is the first debate. It's a very important moment in history, crucial moment in history, because we're looking at a time when we are so lack on candidates, right? We so lack good quality candidates that this is what it's come to. And that's what I couldn't stop shaking my head over while I was watching it. And there was a little joke in there that could have been either planned or not. That I wasn't sure. But for years, many people have been saying that this two-party system is a rigged system. They're one and the same, yada, yada, yada. And I couldn't help but notice as I watched the debate, as if to mock the American people, Hillary Clinton wore a big red dress. The Democratic blue, the Democratic blue donkey wore a red dress. Right? So she wore the other gang's colors. And I said, that's interesting. So then I took a look over at Donald Trump. And the red Republican elephant was wearing a blue tie. So I stopped for a moment and I looked at this and I thought to myself, is this a slap in the face to Americans? Is that what I'm looking at? Is this some sort of underlying joke? Or is this just fate? Is this just fate trying to play its last desperate hand from the American people to show them, look what you're dealing with here? But Hillary to come out in a red dress and to Trump to wear the blue tie was very interesting to me. It wasn't planned. It wasn't, it wasn't something like that. But sometimes the universe's hand works in mysterious ways. And it is very interesting to see one side wearing the other side's colors in battle. And it almost makes you think, there might be something more at play here than what meets the eye. But I've got to be honest with myself, and I've got to be honest with you. And I think that Hillary was a master up there. This has nothing to do with who I'm going to vote for in November, because debates are ridiculous jokes anyway. All right, you have 2 minutes to answer the most important questions of your life. Go. Literally the most important question in your life. We're going to give you a succession of the most important questions in your life, and the American people are going to make judgment off of these questions on how their whole country is going to be run for the next 4 to 8 years. 2 minutes, go. Up. 2 minutes is up. Sorry. 2 minutes is up. What kind of insanity is that? Here we go. The future of the free world in 2 minutes. Go. Okay, time's up. Hillary was a pro. All right, there was a lot of talk about the health, a lot of talk about the this, that. She came out looking great. That's the truth of the situation, right? She deflected almost everything that came her way with a smile and you could see the difference. And really what you were looking at, just so you understand what I'm getting at. I'm not saying she was great, she should take the nation. I'm saying she looked great and she played the way a professional politician would. And quite frankly, I was impressed. She was absolutely untouchable. She was like the Iceman. And that's what she did. I thought she was succinct in her plans and her ideas, a lot of which scared me to death. But at the end of the day, I thought she was just in control. And the reason I say this is the reason I say this. Because you have to look at this thing, first of all, objectively. We're never going to accomplish anything if we don't look at these things objectively. And second of all, you have to look at it from the point of view of the average American. The average American who is not carrying a card for the Republican or Democrat Party. The average American who doesn't know much about either candidate, except one was the first lady once and the other one had a TV show. And when you look at it that way, and you see someone come out, Trump talked about a lot of things that I didn't even think would come up. He talked about a lot of very good, very important topics. But the problem is, to the average American, I don't think they know what the hell these problems are. You say NAFTA to the average person, they fall asleep. Right? You bring up what else was a good one that he was talking about? Some of these topics were so prescient and great, but they were obscure. When you talk about the average American. Now, the person that listens to this show is not the average American. The I Am Liberty listener is not the average American. You are more astute and more educated on these types of things than the average American. But we're talking about 300 million people here, folks. And when the average American takes a look at how Hillary played the board last night, right? You got to remember, this woman has been doing this for how many years? And then you have Lester Holt. There was a clear amount of media bias. That I will give the maniacs on the right. The people who are going completely crazy this morning about Donald Trump and how he was the greatest thing ever to ever hit a debating podium, I will give them the fact that Lester Holt was brutal. Lester Holt hit Trump with question after question after question after question. Hillary's under investigation for how many things? They asked Trump a million questions about personal this and taxes and birther and Iraq war. We spent 10 minutes on the Iraq war alone, as if it mattered. Well, you did vote. You were in favor of the Iraq war, you know. You were a businessman in favor of the Iraq war. You said so on Howard Stern. Yeah, reputable. This highly reputable. Oh, my. So there was bias there. But the fact of the matter is we can't go insane. We can't turn into this tribal nation. The debate, it was but one debate in a series of many that are to come. But that being said, we got to be careful. We got to be careful. You know, I heard the same thing about Romney a long time ago. What seems like a decade ago, but it wasn't. I heard the same thing. Oh, he mopped the floor with Obama. Now, I will give you this. Romney put up a much better battle in the first debate against Barack Obama than Donald Trump did against Hillary. I just saw a shallow guy up there, that's all. That's just my opinion. What? I'm not going to toe the line just because. I'm not going to get up here and lie just because I know one is probably, well, let me put it this way. One might be better for the country than the other. The only allure to Donald Trump, and I'm going to be honest with you, the only allure for me to vote for Donald Trump comes in, obviously, the negative, sort of counterpunching the negativity that would come from Hillary. Counterpunching the debt that she's going to run up, you know, trying to give everyone everything for free. But the other allure that comes with Donald Trump is, how many years have you heard this? We need to run America like a business. We need a businessman in there. We need to run America like a business. And part of the allure for Donald Trump is, I want to see how that shit works. I want to see how that works. I want to see the difference. I want to see if there is going to be a difference. Will there be a difference? Or do you get into that office and you know, it is what it is. You get into that office and they sit you down and they say, well, look, here's the terms. This is what you had to work with. You can do this, but these people are going to be unhappy. If you do that, those people are going to be unhappy. That's the allure for me with Donald Trump. The allure for me is, okay, we've got it lined up here. This guy is a businessman and he's a winner and he's a successful man at all costs. Right? And if success in a country is security, if success in a country is prosperity, then here you go. I am not a global fan, right? I'm not a globalist. If we want to talk about things that have to do with the globe and the globe's problems and problems around the world, that's fine. But first things first, I'm an American, and I concern myself with the issues and the problems in America first. First and foremost. So if I have a candidate who is prosperity and winning and success at all costs, then we're going to have to see how that goes. Right? That's something I wouldn't mind seeing. I wouldn't mind seeing someone go into that office and really be on Team America. Does he have the moxie to pull it off? Yes. Does he have the I don't know. Does he have the depth to pull it off? I'm not sure. The understanding of the underlying factors and how manipulative and dangerous this political world can be, I don't know. But I go back to the old quote by Ronald McDonald Reagan, who said, there are no good businessmen. What was it? No, the best men are never in politics because they're all running their own business. Something to that effect. The best people are never in politics. They go into business. I always loved that quote. I always loved that quote. And here you have a guy who spent his life in business. And no matter what you want to say about that, it is what it is. If it's, you know, this is what this is how the things get so wrapped up and crazy. On the other side, that they attack this guy, and his dad gave him untold millions of dollars. Oh, he didn't pay some people some money. Oh, he tax evaded. And what I would love to do, if I could, is I'd love to give the average schmuck, I'd love to give them a $2 million or whatever, $3 million, $5 million, whatever, you name it. I'd love to give them $5 million, and I'd say, look, over the next 20, 30 years, you are going to be tasked with turning this 20 million into multi-billions. Okay? That's your task. Make it happen. If you don't make it happen, then you're more of an idiot than Donald Trump. You know, people think that it's just you get $1 million and it magically grows into a few billion. You build giant buildings and casinos, and what all it takes, have 10,000 employees, whatever it is. That's the average American challenge that I would give, right? So here you have it. Boom. You've got X amount of millions of dollars in your coffers. I'll give you some network connections here in New York City, and you turn it into $1 billion. You turn your $5 million into $1 billion. That's easy, right? Oh, yeah, that's easy. If I'm a greedy, mean old white man, that's very easy. I can do that, no problem. Don't be silly. Okay, the man has achieved things in life. You can't discount that. And for me, the allure is that. What does that look like? What does that look like? Short little heads up on the debate. That's all. Hillary took the pie. There's no doubt about it. She came out, both guns firing. She was as close to Teflon as you can get. Right? She was never held up. She was never choked up. It didn't happen. She smiled. She made her way through every question like an acrobat, I thought. She looked great. She sounded great. There was no, nothing along the lines of illness or injury. And that's what it was. Unfortunately. Unfortunately, she's a seasoned veteran at the political thing, and she did her work. Okay? And Trump came out and looked a little silly, in my opinion. He looked like a guy who was throwing a lot of punches and whiffing in a fight. So if that were a boxing match, Hillary would be Floyd Mayweather, right? And I think the apt fighter would be Danny Garcia. Or who was the young guy? Oh no, you know what was better? It was like Canelo Alvarez versus Floyd Mayweather. Canelo couldn't hit Mayweather. There was no hitting him. By the 5th round, he was so frustrated, he was red in the face, not from exhaustion, but from the anger of not being able to hit his opponent. And that's what I saw. That's what I saw. I had the long dark on. I had my guy was roaming through this abandoned snowy highway, and I said, this is a metaphor for the American right here. This is the metaphor right here. Here we have these two jokers up here back and forth in it, and here's America. America standing in the middle of a frozen highway with desolation surrounding them. And that's what it is, folks. Unfortunately for you and I, that's what it is. Self-reliance is the answer. Self-reliance is the answer. Self-reliance is the answer. Self-reliance is the answer. That's your only hope. You've got to make it happen. The race has started, by the way. Go to IamLibertyShow.com. I got new Liberty apparel up. I've got new T-shirts up. Awesome T-shirts. I'm loving making these T-shirts, man. It's awesome. New T-shirts up for sale, $14 a pop. You can get your race T-shirt there also. If you go to I Am Liberty Show, there's a big box there about the race. But the race is officially started today, September 27th. 71 miles in 30 days. How close can you come? Can you finish? Can you finish 71 miles in 3 days? It's a question. I'm going to start running today after work, so I hope I'm not doing it alone.